On June 16, 2018, volunteers with the Morongo Basin Search and Rescue who were conducting a search at the Amboy crater saw vultures circling in the distance. When they reached that location, they found the body of William Schmierer, age 64, of Williamsburg, Virginia. The coroner's report said that his body was found in a state of advanced decomposition. The search team could now concentrate on the area where William's body had been found, because they were still looking for the body of his wife, Susan. During the search, I spoke with a police sergeant and a detective who were present. The detective, who asked not to be filmed, told me several very surprising things. First I learned was that Susan and her husband were not the first people who had died there. They were, in fact, the fourth and fifth people who died there in less than a year. Another couple from Yorba Linda had died there 10 months earlier. The cause of these deaths was heat stroke. But the detective said while they were searching for the couple from Yorba Linda, they had found another body. It was a body of a man, but without any hands or a head. I was horrified. The detective said it was most likely a gang killing. He said gang members knew that a body couldn't be identified without hands or a head. In the Mojave, he said, it happens all the time. Knowing that Susan's body was out there and that her family in Virginia desperately wanted her back, gave me a tremendous sense of purpose. And so, over the next 9 months, I repeatedly returned to the Amboy crater, and with the help of my friend Pat, we carried out our own search that was focused on very specific areas. Having twice experienced the symptoms of heat exhaustion, I tried to put myself into Susan's shoes. During their hike on June 2nd, it was 108 degrees, and William, her beloved husband, had just collapsed. Terrified, she ran for help. But Susan's head was spinning. Instead of following the trail back to their car, she ran east, toward the only sign of civilization she could see. The Roy's Motel sign 3 miles away in downtown Amboy. In a horrible coincidence, this was the same direction Kathy Barber of Orange County ran after her husband, collapsed 10 months earlier. And the fact is that those 3 miles would be more difficult than you could imagine. First, the dark volcanic surface reaches temperatures up to 165 degrees in the summertime. Second, there's no shade anywhere. Third, it's not as level as it appears. The surface is actually bisected by hundreds of deep crevices filled with soft, powdery sand that's very difficult to walk on. The adrenaline that initially empowered both of these women would have quickly turned to exhaustion. They would have had no choice but to crawl under the nearest creosote and wait for darkness. But sadly, in those conditions, most people wouldn't survive that long. Pat, who is an FAA-licensed drone pilot, and I both suspected that Susan had run toward the east. So we used Pat's drone to take 60 aerial photographs along that route. Once Pat had taken the photos, I brought them home to carefully analyze. But unfortunately, the photographs revealed absolutely nothing. The use of drones had been, in our case, unproductive. But drones were used by another group a month later during a search at Joshua Tree National Park. And in that case, they successfully located the body of a Canadian man who had been missing for a year and a half. On April 28, 2019, the body of Susan Schmierer was found by a search team. It was located several miles east of the crater and not far from Amboy Road. William and Susan's families could finally put this struggle behind them and move on with their own lives.